So I have a question. My daughter Gracie she's got like a little turtle shell on her back. She's pretty tight back there. I know you were working with her a lot. She's always been a child that was fearful, keeps all her emotions inside, that sort of thing. And I was thinking back on when I was pregnant with her. 9/11 had just happened. I was in a really bad relationship and things were going wrong. So I was stressed to the max, and I was wondering if that affected Gracie in utero. And do you see that in babies' children? Is that something that can be worked out through an SA?
You know, it's an interesting question, Jen, because there's a huge correlation between the environment that the baby was in during gestation and what the child grows up as. Massive. Bruce Lipton has, if you're familiar with Bruce Lipton, he's on YouTube, he's written several books. He talks about in one of his lectures where they had two rats, a mama rat, and they stressed her. They kept the mom from sleeping possibly. And when that baby rat was born, they noticed that the frontal cortex was extremely underdeveloped, and the reptilian brain was massive in comparison and very vascular, meaning more blood flow. So it was more set up for a hostile environment, more reactive, more vigilant. When they had the mama rat that they loved on and pet and played nice music and let her rest, and she had good food and regular meals, that when that baby was born, the higher brain centers were much, much more developed. The reptilian, reactive, survival brain was way smaller and less vascular as compared to an offspring from a different mom that was genetically very similar, but yet the environment was hostile. So if that could have that much of a massive impact there with the two rats, well, maybe with humans, there's a little bit of the same. And there absolutely is. If mom is stressed while the baby is in utero, the baby is literally experiencing the world according to the mother's experience. So if the mother views her environment as not safe and her body's tight, she's tense, she has high stress hormones and cortisol levels, the baby is basking in the same hormones. So they're literally having the same experience. So not only is that going to affect their physical development, it's going to affect their neurological development, it's going to affect them emotionally, how could it not? And then as the baby is born, what we see as practitioners with children that come in where their spines are stiff and they have that turtle shell, they often, there's a certain presentation where that was something that was likely experienced in utero. And they're hardwired almost to be more vigilant. Now, the great thing is as human beings, we're constantly learning and growing and evolving. And as children are growing, what we see is as we do the conscious exercises with them, if they're old enough that they can do that, or do the network care, the network care, really the gift it brings to the table is bringing more breath and safety through the body and spine and working through these stress and tension patterns. So no matter what the environment was in utero, there are applications that we do in network care that could reset, if I could use that word, the nerve system from vigilance into open and parasympathetic and peaceful and relaxed, and literally exercise the availability of that.
That's so interesting. So interesting. Wow, it just matches Gracie's nature and her personality to be in that fight or flight mode.
Sure. And
even as a baby. Her dad would throw her in the air. You know how dads throw their kids up in the air? She would shake and be scared before they caught her.
I'm sure she wouldn't like that.
I could put her out by the swimming pool, and I didn't have to worry about her jumping in or falling in because she wouldn't even go near the water.
She was afraid of everything.
She was born afraid.
Oh, okay.
Born afraid.
Wow.
Yeah. So she grew up in a loving home and, doting mother, father, sister, but just was born scared. So strange. I mean, I always suspected that it was because of the way my pregnancy was and what was going on in my life.
Yes, and oftentimes you can tell at an early age from the presentation that the child has what they're likely to do in the future, because I think we'd all agree that if someone's biggest need is safety and constancy, they're not going to take risks. Mm-hmm. They're likely not going to open their own business. They're likely not going to take the risk that's associated with being successful in industry and in life. Yeah. Meeting a spouse, there's a risk. Mm-hmm. Opening a business is a risk. Being successful requires risk, and actually the more risk you can comfortably take, typically corresponds to success,
So
right?
that's somebody who would be taking the easy route.
Well, they're going to go
just
for safety.
Being a follower.
Safety first.
Yeah.
Which isn't congruent with experiencing life, and I can tell you. So in network care, the work that we do can definitely make a significant impact on that person progressively over time and see them open up more and more and have less and less of a need for safety.
Awesome. I'm glad you're working with Gracie.
Yeah, look forward to continuing that.
So, since you've been working on Gracie, I, as her mother and her sister, have both noticed a dramatic change in her physiology, the way she presents herself to her friends and family. She's confident, her shoulders are back, she's relaxed. I have seen so much less fear. She's gone out into the world with like this new, like ready to take on the world attitude in a way that she used to be like this, and she used to not even express her emotions. And like if her sister pushes her now, she just snaps at her and she just snaps right back at her sister. And her sister was telling us about it yesterday and laughing like, wow.
So she's handling the situation rather than just caving in internally and feeling squashed and going into victim.
She's like,
she's
she
standing
found
up.
her voice. She's standing up for herself.
Good for her.
She's been more confident, she has all new friends, new roommates. Completely different person from the kind of, I mean, she was always a sweet girl, but she was just all like locked up. And I feel like she's just done this. She's opened. And I attribute that to you because I saw it in the spring after you started working with her and she was working with Corey, diet and exercise. It really, really made a huge difference.
Awesome. And who she's going to meet, who she's going to be in relationship with, the career she's going to choose, how successful she is literally, we're intervening and making a change in that in her future right now.
Yeah.
And Gracie, at the end of the day, I'm the middleman as I see it, and Corey acts as the middleman, but at the end of the day, it's the person to make the decision. It's the person that chooses. We're the guide along the way. So. And
Gracie's favorite part of coming to see Dominick is the consciousness exercises, which some people are resistant about because it's not always easy to get used to. It may look funny or whatever, or maybe they're not ready to face all the emotions and feelings that they get from them. But Gracie really embraced it. She talks about it all the time. And that's a sign that she was really getting it because she looked forward to it. And if that's something she was looking forward to, then she was releasing a lot because that's where a significant amount of energy is moved. It's not just the care that you do, but like you have to show up for the energy exercises and take them seriously and really get in touch with those places in your body and move it. And that was one of her favorite parts of care.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's like anything in life, you get out what you put in. So when clients come in, they do the work, they allow me to coach them, they're coachable, as I call it, and they do the exercises, they transform in a relatively short amount of time. So it's, fortunately, you do get out what you put in.
True. You have to want it. You can't just lay on the table and then walk out.
And that's really what separates our care from everything else is, well, I shouldn't say everything else, but a lot of other modalities, you lay on a table and it's passive. What we do is very active. And when you're engaged in it, there's a different level of learning. There's a different level of integration. There's a different level of transformation in the person's life. The more it's active, the more learning and integrating. The more something's passive, typically it's not as transferable into life.
No, yeah, you have to visualize, you have to breathe into spaces, you have to verbalize and vocalize and move energy. Like it's definitely a team experience.
Absolutely.